Welcome back. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful insights from Yoga Vasistha, the idea that liberation isn't something you achieve, it's something you realize. Right now, in this very moment, you are already free. You just don't see it yet. Sounds radical, right? Let's break it down. The world we experience? It's a dream. Not in the none of this matters kind of way, but in the sense that it's a projection of the mind. Everything you think is holding you back, everything that feels heavy, real, or unchangeable, it's all part of that projection. And just like a dream, the moment you wake up to what's really happening, the illusion dissolves. A king once lived an entire lifetime as a beggar, decades of suffering, hunger, loss, only to wake up and realize he had been under a spell all along. His struggles had felt real, but they were never actually happening. His palace was waiting for him the entire time. The same is true for you. The idea that you are limited, that you have to earn your way to enlightenment, that you need more time, more effort, more something, that's part of the illusion. The only thing standing between you and freedom is the belief that you're not already there. Yoga Vasistha says that suffering doesn't come from reality itself, but from the way we interpret it. You don't suffer because of events. You suffer because of the meaning you assign to them. Two people can experience the same moment, and one suffers while the other stays at peace. The difference? Perception. Imagine you see a rope in the dark and mistake it for a snake. Your heart races, fear grips you, but the moment the light shines, you see the truth. There was never a snake. The fear vanishes instantly. That's liberation. Not a process, not a goal, just a shift in perception. This is why Yoga Vasistha doesn't ask you to renounce the world or escape from life. It doesn't tell you to meditate in a cave for 40 years. It tells you to wake up to what's already true, right here, right now. An actor plays many roles, a king, a warrior, a beggar, but no matter what happens on stage, they never forget who they really are. You are the same. You are not your roles. You are not your thoughts. You are not the highs and lows of life. You are something much bigger than all of it. There's nothing to attain, nothing to change. The ocean doesn't need to become water. It already is. The wave doesn't have to fight to be part of the ocean. It already belongs. Right now, you are that ocean. You are free. You just have to see it. The mind is the architect of reality. Every experience, every struggle, every moment of joy or suffering, it all begins and ends in the mind. Yoga Vasistha says that the world is not just an illusion, but a mental projection. It's not something happening to you. It's something happening within you. Your mind is the screen, the projector, and the observer all at once. Think about a dream. When you're dreaming, everything feels real. You react to it. You experience emotions. You even suffer. But the moment you wake up, you realize it was never happening outside of you. It was all inside your mind. Life is the same. The only difference is that this dream is longer. The mind doesn't just create experiences. It creates the sense of self. The I that you think you are, the one that is afraid, the one that desires, the one that suffers, that's just another projection. The real you is beyond thought, beyond identity, beyond the limitations the mind imposes. A river may flow fast, it may slow down, it may even dry up, but the river is not separate from the ocean. In the same way, your thoughts come and go, your identity shifts, your experiences change, but you are not separate from infinite awareness. So why does suffering exist? Because we mistake the mind for reality. A traveler once got lost in a desert and saw a shimmering oasis in the distance. He ran toward it, desperate for water, only to find that it was a mirage. But his thirst was real. His desperation was real. His suffering was real. This is the trick of the mind. It creates illusions and then makes us react to them as if they are real. We chase things, we fear things, we long for things, all without realizing that the very thing we are looking for is already here. The moment you stop chasing, the illusion collapses. But stopping isn't about force. It's not about controlling the mind or fighting thoughts. It's about seeing through them. Imagine standing by a lake. If the water is turbulent, you can't see your reflection. But the lake doesn't become clear by force. It settles naturally when left undisturbed. Your mind is the same. When you stop chasing thoughts, stop identifying with every feeling, stop attaching yourself to every story, it settles. And in that stillness, you see the truth, not a new truth. Not something outside of you, just the truth that was always there, waiting beneath the noise. The mind is not the enemy. It's just a tool, a dream maker, a storyteller. When you see it for what it is, you stop being controlled by it. And when you stop being controlled by it, you are free, because you were never anything else. Desire is the glue that holds the illusion together. Every longing, every craving, every attachment, it all keeps the mind spinning, projecting reality like a never-ending dream. We believe we need something, that we are incomplete without it, that fulfillment lies somewhere ahead of us, just out of reach. But Yoga Vasistha says the opposite. It says the moment you desire nothing, you lack nothing. Because the truth is, you were never incomplete to begin with. A man once chased a mirage in the desert, convinced that water lay just beyond the horizon. He walked for miles, exhausted, desperate. But the moment he stopped chasing, the illusion disappeared. And in that stillness, he realized he had been standing by a well the entire time. Desire is the same. It keeps you running, searching, grasping for happiness, for peace, for meaning. But the very act of seeking keeps you from seeing. You already have everything. The mind tricks you into believing that freedom is in the future, that happiness is tied to conditions, that peace comes only when things go your way. But look at a child laughing, playing with nothing. Look at a monk with no possessions, sitting in perfect stillness. Happiness was never outside of you. It was just buried under the weight of wanting. This doesn't mean rejecting life. It doesn't mean suppressing emotions or pretending not to care. It means seeing through the illusion of attachment, holding everything lightly, enjoying what comes but not suffering when it goes. A wise man once held a clay cup and said, "I drink from this cup every day, but in my mind it is already broken. So when it falls and shatters, I do not grieve." This is freedom, not to withdraw from life, but to engage in it without fear, to experience everything but remain untouched, to love fully but never lose yourself. The tighter you hold on to something, the more power it has over you. But when you loosen your grip, you realize it was never holding you. You were holding it. Let go and see what remains. Everything we've explored so far leads back to a single truth. Freedom isn't something you reach, it's something you realize. The suffering, the longing, the feeling of being bound, they are all part of the mind's projection. And like a dream, the moment you see through it, the illusion dissolves. We've talked about how the mind creates reality, how desire keeps us chasing shadows, and how attachment turns passing moments into suffering. But there's another layer to this. Action, time, and the cycles we find ourselves in. We act in the world believing we need results, believing that our happiness depends on things going a certain way. But Yoga Vasistha teaches that action itself is not the problem. It's our attachment to results that binds us. When we move through life freely, without expectation, without needing things to go our way, action becomes effortless. We stop reacting, we stop resisting, and in that, we find real peace. Then there's time. The past and future, they don't exist outside of thought. What we call memory, what we call anticipation, it's all happening in the mind right now. The only reality is this moment. And yet we live as though we are running towards something, escaping something, caught in a cycle that never ends. Birth, death, and everything in between, they are just changes in form, shifts in perception. We are never truly born, and we never truly die. We move through these experiences as if they define us, but the real self, the one beyond illusion, remains untouched. So where does this leave us? If everything is illusion, if the mind is the architect of suffering, if time is a trick and attachment keeps us bound, then what's left? Awareness. The moment you stop identifying with the shifting waves of thought, the moment you step back from the illusion, what remains is what has always been there. Still, unchanging, free. There's nothing to reach, nothing to fix, nothing to wait for. The ocean doesn't have to become water. It already is. So the question isn't, how do I become free? The question is, what's stopping me from seeing that I already am? Thank you for spending this time with me. If this conversation resonated with you, let's keep exploring together. Join our community, where we go deeper into self-inquiry, stillness, and the wisdom that helps us navigate life with clarity. Subscribe, share your thoughts, and connect with others on this journey. You can find more in the description. Until next time, take care.